Kiboozi.
Yes, hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Beizzo's Kiboozi. Now for this episode, there's something I stumbled on and I realized it's something that all of us need to hear. And I don't know, it has been playing in my mind since the time I found it out. And what other place to share it apart from my podcast? It is the contrast trap. Now, that may be too much English, but I'm going to break it down. You see, there's a time I went to buy a pair of shoes. I think downtown, if you corner next to Butter there's these shoes that they sell. I don't know how I can explain it best, but these guys that are on the side of the shops and have very many other pairs of shoes. They're selling them, but they put only one shoe. I don't know why, but they only put one shoe because I think, Ugandans are funny. You may jump out with the guy's shoes. But it was just right in the corner after Butter. That is in town, in the center of town. If you know where Butter is, for Ugandans listening to this, but I believe most of my audience is Ugandans. So how does this contrast trap come up? I entered Butter to buy a pair of shoes, and when I entered there, I found that the shoes were really expensive, and I think it was about 150 for a pair. I wanted to buy moccasins. So when I got to think about it, I didn't have the budget. My budget was about 100 and I wanted to spend about 70k. So I just sloped down and I saw a similar shoe, but I asked this guy and the guy tells me the shoe is 60k. I just jumped with that price without bargaining, without anything, and I bought the shoes, only to find out that the shoes were first of all cheaper. They were about 40k. And this is a story from back then, not right now. I know some of you may ask yourself, where are those cheap moccasins? They are really not yet there anymore. And this is, I think, about senior one there. Now, the reason as to why I bought the 60k moccasins and not the 150k moccasins of Butter was the contrast trap. Now, the contrast trap is where you judge something not by its actual value, but by what it's compared to. So I ended up buying something that first of all was poor quality, and I ended up making a loss on the bargain because I bought shoes of 40k at 60k, just because in my mind I had compared it to the 150k moccasins. And that's what I want to talk about today, the contrast trap. You see, someone once told me that in marketing or in sales, give someone only two choices, not three, only two choices. Why? They will always go into contrast. They will always think, this and this seems to be a better deal, even when it's not a better deal. So ideally, what is a contrast trap? Like I've already said, it's a psychological bias where we judge something not by its actual value, but by what we compare it to. Now, sometimes it comes up in the deals that we make and the discounts that we see, in the sales that we see. There is a trap to this. You should already know that they are also using that contrast trap to sell to you what they want actually to sell to you. I could say this is used by KFC so much. if you look at you buying streetwise and you buy the normal 3 pieces, the difference is that this one seems to look like a better deal. First of all, by the name, by the, there's a lot that they have played on your mind to compare that. If I bought the 3 normal pieces and a soda, and then buying a streetwise, which one would be better? First of all, the normal one, you'd get bigger fries, you'd get I think a soda. Now the streetwise, you'd get the normal small things. If you've seen a streetwise of KFC, it is smaller than the normal if you were to buy the normal package. That is for those KFCs that still have the normal package, because right now I think they cleared it off and made everything streetwise, everything so easy, forgetting that we have discovered some of these things, how good deals are killed. The deals, the discounts, the sales, Black Friday, what, you'll see something be given a discount of, let's say, 100k, but you look at the original and the 100k discount and you think this is a good deal. However, they're using that original with this one to look like it's a good deal. But most times you find now, like for the supermarket where I buy things, you find that the things that are on discount, most of them are remaining with like 2 months to expiry date. It's never a good deal. That's what I want to bring out. It's never a good deal. Even in relationships, some of us choose partners based on comparison, not compatibility. We look at the things that we faced, the exes that we had, the people that we saw around, and we don't focus on compatibility. Because I believe for a relationship to work out, it has to be compatible. You guys have to be compatible. You have to find ways of complementing each other. You have to find ways of making the chemistry work, not comparing what you have and what you don't have. I will not bring in a personal story, but okay, I'll bring in a personal story. Back then when I was dating, right now I'm single. Back then when I was dating, the reason as to why I left, I think, the girl of my dreams to get another person at the time, most of it was on comparison. This girl was a little more interesting. I don't know why I can't share this. But anyway, this girl was a little bit more interesting and not as interesting as my ex at the time. A little bit more obedient, a little bit less stubborn, a little bit more knowledgeable, and all that was comparison. It wasn't checking for compatibility. Now, for compatibility, I realized that my stories or the jokes that I used to give around her were not really something that she liked. Yet the other one liked them. Now, I focused more on the things that she had that the other one didn't have, and did not focus on how compatible we were. Even in career choices, most of us leave the jobs that we are in to go to other jobs because we think the other job is better. We don't really look into the whole thing. It is because we are comparing. It's because we are seeing the contrast. We are seeing the culture, we're seeing the what, and all that. We forget to look at the crucial things. The crucial things being, are you going to grow in that place? Is this a good career decision based on your trajectory in life? Things like that. You can have a good job, but it stresses you out and you can't do anything about your life. Even self-image, you see, most people think they are not good enough because they have compared themselves to other people. And that is all contrast. If you start to compare yourself to another person, you'll never get to feel the strength in the things that you do well. Because all of us are built different. Some things come easy for others. Some things come hard for others. So if you start to compare yourself with someone, you never know that is something that comes so easy for them and it comes so hard for you. So how do we break the contrast trap? Basically, I think you can't leave a Kiboozi podcast episode without the practical steps. And so the first thing I think is that you can do is to pause before making decisions. Ask yourself, am I just making this decision because the other thing looks worse than this thing? Or I believe you should just be objective in every decision that you make. Weigh all the things in. Personally, I've seen that back then, when I were to make decisions in my life, I did them out of seeing what was the most comfortable thing to do. Right now, the thing is on what is the most, how can I call it? The most fertile ground for growth for me. In whatever decision I make, that is what I want to do. I want to see what is the most fertile place for me to grow, not what is the most comfortable place for me to be. Because being comfortable only and only sets you back, but growing puts you to the next level. So always pause and make the decision objectively. Then define your standards from the beginning. Define your standards. If you're someone that actually knows your standards, you will never ever make a decision out of contrast. You'll always make the decision based on what best serves you. I'll give it an example that check if you had a standard that this is what I'm looking for in a job, this is the amount of money that I need, this is the number of people I need to work with, I need to be the dumbest in the room, not the smartest in the room. I need to be the dumbest in the room so that I can learn more. Once you detect any of those that are not in your standards, you run away. Then the other thing is also to look at your emotions. You see, the contrast trap works best under emotions. Let's say you are hungry. Let's say you have you're lonely. That's when you start to compare. This is how my life has been without anyone. Now, this is how my life will be with someone. Yeah. Check for the emotions too. Make sure that your emotions are in check so that you do not compare. Otherwise, I think that is it for Beizzo's Kiboozi this Monday. Have a good week and let's keep it at Beizzo's Kiboozi. If you like this, please share it with your friends. Please share it with someone that you believe needs it. My challenge for you this week is to break the contrast and more in the decisions that you make, more in the life choices you make, because life is full of choices and the best deal is always the one that serves you the best. Otherwise, see you next Monday. Thank you for listening.